All right, y'all. So welcome to another episode of Hustle to the Top podcast. You know, this is a show all about unconventional routes to success. And of course, y'all have all been waiting on this specific guest. You know what I'm saying? Mr. TJ Tijani, my LB right here, man. What's Beezy?
What's good, Link?
What's up, man? How you feeling?
Man, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's hard to believe that we're at this part of this year. It seems like this year flew by. Feels like we just got it started, but at the same time, so much has happened. And this has just been incredible, bro.
Man, so, I mean, we got to get it popping and let everybody know, because this is the STR guy. You know what I'm saying? Short-term rental, Airbnb, all of that.
I do a little bit of that.
But please, give everybody a quick synopsis of what you do, and then we can get into, like, how you actually got here.
Yeah. So TJ Tijani, the Rentalpreneur, and I am all about cash flow, really. And so, but we get to that by way of short-term rentals, right? And this is a strategy that I do now that has so much range, because I started my short-term rental business with one single family house. And now we've scaled that to where we're buying commercial assets and scaling our business that way. But this is amazing, because this is just an example of what's possible with the short-term rental business. And now one of the things that brings me the most fulfillment, the most joy, outside of scaling my business, growing my business, hiring employees, is actually showing people, teaching people this business and how to do it the right way. Because, and I tell people, that part is crucial, because it's different. This business truly is always a moving target. What was working just a couple years ago is not necessarily what's working now. You have to remain a student of the game to stay on top of your game with this business, for sure.
Facts. And I feel like a lot of people just jump in the game like, yo, let me just rent an apartment, you know what I'm saying, under my name, and jump in the Airbnb game. You know what I'm saying? I see this guy TJ all over the gram, you know what I'm saying? He's killing it. Let me just go ahead and get an apartment and just put it on Airbnb. That's not the way to go.
No, not necessarily. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy, because, you know, even just to work with REITs and apartment complexes, it was very different before. Just a few years ago, the relationships were a lot newer. Like, this business was still at a stage of infancy, in a way, to where you could still have certain just conversations with apartments and intrigue them enough to do this business. But now they've had such horrible experiences with people not doing it right. They've had such horrible experiences with people that were lying to them, flying under the radar to do this business. And so now it's not that it's impossible to work with apartments. It's just a lot more strenuous. It's a lot more challenging. You got to have your ducks in a row. But it's great, to be honest, because it almost kind of singles out the folks who just want to just earn a quick buck in this business, versus the folks who are actually trying to grow a legitimate corporate housing company, legitimate short-term rental business that's going to be here to withstand the test of time.
Nice. I get it. Yeah, I mean, I remember when you were educating me a few years ago on it, and you were like, nah, like we really go into it as a legitimate business. We're not, it's not like, yo, TJ, let me just get an apartment. I mean, so let's backtrack. Let's take it back. You know what I'm saying? Before the guest appearances, all of the speaking engagements, you know what I'm saying? Let's go back before even U of H, right? So how did you get started here? Because you're not even from the U.S.
So
like, let's bring people back.
Absolutely. So Nigerian, born, partially raised. Came to the United States when I was 8 years old, moved to Houston, and I've been asked a few times, like, why Houston? Well, we have family here already. So my mom just chose Houston because her sister was here, my aunt was here already. And so that's why we chose Houston. And it's been Houston ever since. Ended up going to the University of Houston, being the first in my family to go to college and put myself through college. And at University of Houston, you know, one of the best decisions I ever made was to go to that college. So it's always interesting. People ask me, like, would you change anything? Because I'm not even using my degree. I have an engineering degree and a mathematics minor. I don't use my degree anymore, but I wouldn't change a thing, to be honest, because it's all part of the story. It's all part of my story and my truth, right? So, and I was able to meet amazing people like my, I'll say like my LB here, right? And so it's always interesting, because the journey was somewhat unconventional, for sure. I thought, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to be running some engineering firm or being a CEO or director of some oil and gas company or something like that. And but it didn't take me long into my engineering field to realize that it wasn't what I wanted to do. But, you know, it's always interesting, because for me, when I graduated from college, putting myself through college was one thing, because I wasn't afforded the opportunity that a lot of people were, right? I wasn't a citizen of the country, and so I wasn't even given student loans. I wasn't even able to get financial aid, nothing like that. So I had to finesse my way out to get jobs and working 40, 50 hours a week to put myself through school. But I did that for 6 years. And so when I graduated, it didn't take long until one of our frat brothers, it was June Bama. Right?
Damn, shout out to Junius.
Junior, he hit me up. He said, bro, you should read this book. He just gave me this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And because it was like buying assets, and he saw that I was a hustler, right? So, and that was the book that changed my life. And I took that book offshore with me while I was working offshore. And
this is while you're an engineer?
While I was an engineer, working on the rigs. You know, you were an engineer in Houston, it's likely you're going to be in oil and gas. It's like the oil and gas capital. Yeah. So I was a subsea engineer. And so I read that book offshore, and that was the light bulb moment for me. I knew that I was going to own assets. I knew I wanted to own assets. And I set out a journey on a path. I wanted 10 single-family homes. Then I was going to leave my full-time job. And I was laid off June 1st, 2017. I was laid off. So that's 5 years into my engineering career.
Wow.
By that time, I was doing real estate on the side. I had 5 rental properties. I was wholesaling about a house a month. And then I decided to go all in. I said, all right, I'm just going to go all into real estate. But honestly, it wasn't the easiest thing. My first deal was a flip. First deal as a full-time entrepreneur was a flip, and I lost 6 figures on that deal. Wow. Lost $60K on the next deal. Yeah, really? Dead serious, of my own money. And so it was a journey that probably would have taken a lot of people out of real estate, because I was very frustrated with the business, and there was a lot of frustration in what strategy to focus on. This is why I love the short-term rental strategy, because this is the strategy that changed my life completely.
And so at the time you were just doing flips, or
I was doing flips,
because that's kind of like the popular, right? You know what I mean? Let me do some wholesale deals. Yes. Let me do a couple flips.
And honestly, I'm glad I did. It made me an amazing investor. I tell people, if you know how to wholesale, because the art of wholesaling, see, if you want to be a successful wholesaler, the fact is to understand that you're not in the real estate business. You're more so in the marketing and sales business. You're a marketer and a salesperson. Really? That is what you are. And if you can understand that you'll be a successful wholesaler. You have, as a wholesaler, you are skilled to finding properties that are below market value. Mm-hmm. You are skilled at that. If you can have the sales skills to get that property and the marketing skills to find that property, then you'll be a successful wholesaler. And so that's why I don't mind. I love the fact that I wholesale, because it allowed me, it instilled a certain skill in me that made me a better investor overall. So even now, with my exit with doing short-term rentals, I partially, as good as I am in analyzing these kind of deals, is my experience as a wholesaler, 100%.
And so you're not even a real estate agent, right? You don't have your license.
I don't have a license.
So you were doing all of this just off the hip.
Absolutely. Well, you know, it's one thing to have a license, because as a real estate agent, you're not taught investments. You're not taught anything on investments. Really? Yeah, you're taught how to represent people that want to buy and sell their properties. Okay. So as an investment, you have to self-educate yourself. This is why self-education is important. People ask me right now, well, TJ, if I had $10,000 right now, how would I invest it? Honestly, if you had $10,000 right now, what I would recommend you to invest in is yourself. Go get a coach, go get a mentor, go buy a course to teach you what you need to know to be dangerous in this business. Really? Right? So absolutely, 100%. So if you want to be, to me, that's the cheat code. It's self-education. And then to take that step further, you have to apply it, because you got to be about that action. You have to. You can know all you want, but if you ain't about that action, you're only going to be spinning your wheels, and you got to get laser focused.
And so, man, that's a great point, because I feel like there's so much information out there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about 10 years ago when we were in college. Like YouTube, we were on YouTube, you know, we were doing some dangerous marketing, you know what I'm saying, for the fraternity, for the chapter. But, you know, there wasn't so much access to information, you know what I mean? Like, and so now we're at a point where it's almost information overload. You know what I mean? Every time you scroll on Instagram, every time you scroll on TikTok, there's a guru, you know what I mean, who's telling you this way to do real estate. They're telling you this way to do short-term rentals. And so how do you pick a route a strategy and actually take action? Like, what's your advice on taking that first step?
You know, that's a good point, because real estate in general has so much range, so much exit strategy. There's so much acquisition skills, there's so much acquisition strategies that you can do, so much exit strategies that you can implement. And I recommend to do some research, right? Start off doing some research and figuring out which strategy you feel like, because it all depends on your goals. Do you want money fast? Do you want money now? Or do you want long-term money, right? Do you want money slowly that'll build over time? Or do you want money that's quick, fast, and now, right? Are you willing to do the rehab? Are you okay with designing and doing construction, or do you want in and out of these deals? So a lot of it is also some self-discovery, trying to figure out which strategy more so fits you, aligns with your goals that you have for yourself, and find somebody that is literally implementing and is where you want to be, that is actually in the business, doing it actively. Have somebody to model after, and tap in with that person. That's my recommendation.
And so there's also a lot of like lifestyle marketers, you know what I mean? Like people that like show off the flashy cars or the flashy houses, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't even see where you really are with it, but they trust it because you actually do it, right? You show the boutique hotel, you show the progress, you show the expertise. And so what's your thoughts on that? Like the whole lifestyle versus
it was interesting because I had a conversation about this at a conference once, a similar conversation. And because it's one thing, because it's great to show like what you're actually working on, like the projects that you're working on, and showing like that you're actually in the business and things like that. And then it's one thing to actually show like, the flashy cars. But at the end of the day, if it gets people in your ecosystem, then why not, right? If it's a nice car, if it's a flashy car, because a lot of people will look at it and say, man, that's what I start. Like, I want that as a goal. So some people might look at it as like, man, you want to show it's showing off, and it's you're playing onto people's whatever. But if it works, does the end goal get accomplished? Does it bring people into your ecosystem or not? That's the way I see it. So the way I see it, it's marketing.
Right.
Marketing sometimes needs to be unconventional in some ways for it to work. Like sometimes marketing, you have to pierce that veil of what's normal, right, for things to stick. And so a lot of times being flashy works, right? So to me, it just depends. Does it bring people in your ecosystem or not? But on the back end, are you actually fulfilling? Are you actually changing lives? Are you actually impacting their lives? Are they actually able to tap in with you? And does your ecosystem help put them in position to go bigger, better, faster, or not? And that's what matters.
The transformation.
Absolutely.
Like, is there an actual transformation? And so one of the questions that I'm sure a lot of people have, you see all of the gurus, right, like we talked about, but like, what is actually possible? Like, what's the realistic type of income that you can make off of STR?
So with STRs,
like, what's the range?
I would say expect to, if you're running it right, expect to make at least 2x what you would make as a traditional long-term rental.
Really?
Absolutely.
And long-term rental just being like a
regular, and this is from net, right? I look at everything like net. What would you net? So long-term traditional rentals are long-term tenants that you'll put in, usually, a month, a year long, or 2 years long, whatever the case may be. But yes, when you're running a short-term rental play, if you're doing it properly, you should be at minimum 2x in what that is, really 3x. And in some cases, 5, 6, 7, 10x sometimes. It really just depends, right? Especially if you're able to leverage other people's money to buy these assets, and then you run the play, and then you're netting 5 figures a month from an asset that you purchased with none of your own money. That's essentially infinite returns. And it's very possible to 5x what a traditional rental would be if you actually run it right and bought it right.
Wow.
And that's why I tell people, it doesn't matter how you exit these deals. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you flip it. I don't care if you make it a short-term rental or not. You make your money when you buy it. This is why when I buy, even the properties that I make a short-term rental, because all my assets are now short-term rentals that I purchase, I still purchase them as if they're traditional rentals.
Really?
If I can't put a traditional tenant in it and it still make money, then I'm still not buying it right. This is why my margins are so great, because I look at the short-term rental income as just icing on a cake. So while it's a massive icing on a cake, right? But that's how I look at it. But it does a cash flow with a traditional rental. And if that happens, then I know my spread is going to be great. And that's why that's when you start getting into the 5X what a long-term traditional rental could do.
Wow.
If depending on how you purchase the deal.
How you purchase the deal. And so you mentioned using other people's money.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You're big on that right now.
Absolutely.
Right? You're like the GOAT.
I've been
and
big
so
on it.
yeah. How do you even do that? You know what I mean? You talk about not having to come out of your own pocket and being able to acquire these properties and start your businesses. How does that work? Like, quick summary. How does that work?
In real estate,
Yep.
it 100% takes money to make money.
Okay.
You need capital to purchase these assets. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But the caveat is, it just doesn't have to be your capital. So you need three things. And I love my good friend Chris Senegal. He coins this, the success triangle. And this is so true, especially in real estate. You need three things to make a deal work. You need the knowledge and experience, you need the time, and you need the money. The caveat is, you don't have to bring all three. Just bring one. Bring one, then go get the other two, right? And leverage other people's experiences and their money to go get the other two. Now, I recommend, if you are good at, again, sales and marketing, you leverage your experience to go bring the opportunity. If you bring a good deal, this is why I love real estate. Somebody can come into real estate and be brand new and be dangerous if you know how to analyze a deal. Because at the end of the day, it takes money, but it doesn't have to be your money. Money, there's literally money right now in the marketplace that's looking for good real estate deals. That's why when I get asked a question, I focus on finding a deal first or finding the money first. If you find a good deal, the money is going to be right around the corner. No
Really?
problem. Absolutely. So leveraging other people's money is one of the skills that you can learn to go crazy in real estate, right? And so on top of that, you can master how to buy properties creatively. There are creative strategies to acquiring these properties. Strategies like lease option, which is also known as lease purchases, owner finance, subject to taking over people's notes. These are all, again, still leveraging other people's money in a creative way to purchase these assets and grow your own portfolio. So that's why with real estate, there's so much range, so much strategies that you can master, that you can 100%. Money shouldn't be an issue if this is a goal for you, for sure.
Money is not the issue. One of the questions that I had was, like, everybody knows about Airbnb. Is that the only platform that you utilize, or you know, because as a novice, I would assume, like, okay, Airbnb. All right, let me get a property, throw it on Airbnb.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? What other platforms?
Well, you
and
know
you have
what?
your own platform as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. So, it's interesting. People will say, "Oh, TJ's the Airbnb guy," and I embrace it. You know what I'm saying? It's great, but I like to tell people that's not the business I'm in. I'm not even in the Airbnb business, right? I'm in the short-term rental business, right? And that's the company that I have. That's the business that I have. And I say all that to say, but I say start with Airbnb. Airbnb is still the most turnkey platform out there. Airbnb is no more than a marketing channel. It is no more than what we call an OTA, an online travel agency, just like there's VRBO, there's Booking.com. There's a lot of other OTAs that are out there that you can list on. And if you are in this business for real, you should be on them. You should be on all of them for sure. So it's not just Airbnb. But Airbnb is just the most known. But at the end of the day, if you have a business that's solely predicated on Airbnb and you getting all your bookings from Airbnb, then you are in a single point of failure situation, right? So we love Airbnb, but we have to change the way that we look at it. We look at Airbnb for our income. Yes, 100%. We're going to get income from them, but we also have to look at them for leads. They're an income source, but we also have to look at them as a lead source. And so what that means is you have to be able to start building your own database. You should be able to leverage not just Airbnb, but all the OTAs to where no matter where that booking comes from any other marketing channels, people book with you. Every single person that books with you, along with every single person that steps foot in their property that comes with them, needs to be in your own database, right? That way you are now building your own direct booking database to where you can retarget them by marketing to them for them to book with you directly next time they want to stay with you.
Come on, man.
And so, yes, we love Airbnb, but that's not the goal. If we're serious about growing a short-term rental company, a business, then yes, you need to start building your own database and have your own direct booking site, build your own brand for your company, and leverage Airbnb to help build that brand.
Man, I feel like that aligns so much with social media, you know what I'm saying? And everything that like I'm into, because people complain about the algorithm and, you know what I'm saying? My friends aren't seeing my posts. And the truth of the matter is you can't rely on Instagram solely to build your business or build your audience. It's like use it as an attention getter, right? To get your leads.
Absolutely.
And then get their data, right? Get their email, phone number, et cetera, and then be able to retarget them.
Absolutely.
Right? Be able to spread the information and let them know, hey, I'm on TikTok too. Hey, I'm on YouTube as well. You know what I'm saying? And that's
identical principles.
Wow, that's dope.
Absolutely.
And so now you're creating your own platform.
Oh, 100%.
You have your own platform.
Well, yeah, we're building our own brand, and we have our own platform because we're a business, right? And we operate as one. And when you put yourself in position as a business, you're opening yourself up to a lot more opportunity in this game, right? Because we have to start not thinking about building a brand just only from a B2C, like business to customer, but also B2B, business to business. So that way you can actually have partnerships with hospitals, government contracts, insurance companies, to where your brand is their preferred place for their clients to stay when they need. And trust me, they always pay a premium when you get bookings from them. But you can't even operate at that level if you are not operating properly at the foundational level. That's why I tell people, the value in this business is not on Airbnb. It's not on Booking.com. It's not on VRBO. The value in the short-term rental game is in the infrastructure that you've built out and laid out, the foundation that you've laid out, the systems, the operation, the automation, your team. That is where your foundation lies, and that's where the value is, because that and your structure, how you structure from an entity perspective, all that jazz is what's going to help put you in position to run as a business.
And so automation, system, structure, all of that has allowed you to now be in the process of creating a boutique hotel.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Boutique hotel, right in the heart of Third Ward. Crazy to see you at this point now, and it's almost live, right?
Yeah. We're getting ready to go live for sure. And honestly, it's just the beginning, bro. This is just the pilot. The pilot boutique hotel, and that all came about because we had a complete mindset shift with our business, and we were having our short-term rental business to where we were more spread out across the city. But I saw the value in having multiple units in one location, from the small 2 to 4 unit multifamilies that I was purchasing and converting them to short-term rentals. And so that's why I started looking for boutique hotels. But I realized that in looking for actual old motels, I ran into a couple of issues. The funding guidelines were a lot more stringent than traditional real estate. And I also found that, of course, the inventory, like the opportunities, wasn't as much as traditional real estate. So that's why I just started buying multifamily assets and converting them to boutique hotels instead. So creating my own brand, and I'll buy an apartment complex, then I will add so much value to it. I'll gut it, I'll remodel it, make it beautiful, and I'll convert it to a boutique hotel. And that's how we're scaling our business now.
And you mentioned something about like building the system and the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So you're not doing this by yourself. There's no way.
Ain't no way.
You have a team, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And are they're based here?
Yes, absolutely. So
team based here.
Team is based here, and we also have virtual assistants.
Dope. Yeah. And I mean, what's the growth path? Like, how did you start?
Yeah.
What was your first team member, and then how did you like scale it?
Yeah, so it's always interesting because when you're starting a business, you're your team member, and that's okay. It's okay to wear all the hats when you're getting started. It's okay to be the technician in your business when you're starting. But the goal is to always make that transition, right, from being a technician to working in your business to transition to being an entrepreneur where you're working on your business. Now you're more so just a puppet master and making sure that your team and your multiple sectors and your team is operational, right, is set up for success. And so the first hire that I hired, well, of course, the first hire was technology. Because in the short-term rental business, you should look at your infrastructure as separating with your field team and your technology team, your tech team and your field team. Your field team being your cleaners and your maintenance person and your boots on the ground person, your runners. And then technology, we love technology to help us, like our guidebook system, our revenue management softwares, our channel managers, our cleaning softwares to help us manage our cleaning processes. So I first brought on a guest communication piece of technology and also revenue management technology. Well, I guess prior to that, it was my cleaner. My cleaner was my first hire. Cleaner.
Like, I'm
Honestly,
not trying to do that.
I think every short-term rental investor will agree with me right now that the cleaner is probably the most important person on your team. They are definitely the backbone of your company. It may take you a few cleaners to run through to find that perfect one that's ideal for your company. But now we're actually building our own internal cleaning team at this point.
Really?
So yeah, absolutely. We have to. We have to at this point. So now. So the cleaners for sure, then brought in maintenance, leverage technology. Now we have boots on the ground. We have a general manager that's literally like full salary, running things. And then it's VAs. Then we have our maintenance person who's on retainer. We have our cleaning team, an in-house cleaning team that we're building out right now. And then it's just technology, all technology. And that's it. We try to stay as lean as possible. Absolutely.
Wow. And you're able to do all that you do.
Yes, with just that team. Now, as you scale, as we add more, because every time we scale our business, we add, like, it's a commercial asset that we're adding to our portfolio. It's going to be a lot of doors. So as you scale, then you scale your team as well, right? And so that's how you gotta do it.
It's definitely levels. You know what I'm saying? But it's dope the way you broke it down.
You just gotta start.
Yeah,
you start one place. You start wearing all the hats and you grow.
Wow.
And that's why the infrastructure is important. The infrastructure is the reason why the same amount of time it takes me to run and manage 5 beds is the same amount of time it takes me to run and manage 55 plus beds.
Stop it.
Because of the infrastructure. That's why that's where the value is.
Same amount of time that it takes to do 5 beds or 5 doors, 5 units. You can do
5 beds.
5 beds.
I was averaging around in beds.
5 beds, you can do the same amount with 55 beds.
100%.
Same amount of time.
100%.
Wow. That's solid. All right. So let's get into this because, we talked a bit whenever, we were dealing with my mom's property in the West about like business entities and how important that is.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so do you have like your property management company own all of your STRs? Yeah. Or like, how does that work?
Yeah. Well, your business structure is important.
Okay.
Because you have to protect yourself and you have to purchase these real estate assets properly. And so each piece of real estate I own, each building has its own LLC actually. But then that's completely separate from my management company, which is my short-term rental company. So it's totally separate entities. But we have our entity that owns the real estate, then you have the entity that runs it as a short-term rental. And so this is why we actually rent our properties from ourselves. So we rent our properties that we own. My management company rents it from the properties that we own at the market rent. The landlord is the entity that owns it at the market rent. So if the market rent is $2,000 a month, there's a lease agreement that says, hey, there's a $2,000 lease and legitimate bank transfer payments every month to pay this entity, the landlord,
Stop it.
$2,000 a month. And that solves a lot of problems that, man, we can just go all day about how many problems that solves. But a few things to note. Understand that now this entity now has passive income, while this entity, a management company, is the active income. Okay, talk to your CPA about how important that is and how dope that is.
We're gonna wrap, Fred. We're gonna wrap.
So on top of that, one of the things, and I actually I did an Instagram video about this a while ago, where you probably heard it went super viral with that one lady. She stayed at somebody's Airbnb for a few weeks, and then she came back out of town, but she won't leave. So now she's claiming squatters' rights, right? And so because she stayed past the short-term rental definition days, which is 29 days or less in most markets and most states, or 14 days or less in some states. By definition, that's what their short-term rentals are deemed in that particular state. So if somebody stays past those days, that means what? They can claim squatters' rights. And now you have to evict them. So that means they're going to be able to stay at your property for free for at least another month.
You got to be kidding me. Squatters' rights.
Squatters' rights.
What is that?
Well, if somebody doesn't want to leave, because as a landlord, you can't just physically force somebody to leave a property. You have to evict them the right way. You have to make them leave the right way. And in most cases, you have to evict them. But if you have a legitimate lease agreement, then of course, if they're within the lease, then you can get them out quicker, whatever the case may be. But if they want to claim squatters' rights, saying that, hey, which has happened to me. This happened my very first investment property. The tenant stopped paying rent and literally just wouldn't leave, so I had to evict him. But the eviction process took time, so they didn't have to pay. They didn't have to pay, and I can't just call the police and just to tell them to get them out. Wow. And so transition back to the short-term rental side, it's like, hey, they said she booked a 35-night stay. After her stay, she doesn't want to leave. And so, but, by definition in that state, it stays about short-term rentals, it stays there 29 days or less. So after that, she doesn't want to leave. She's claiming squatters' rights. So what do? You call the police, which is in that video, that's what happened. Because she was like, I don't know if you saw the video, she walked around, she was like, I ain't leaving. And she walked inside and made a sandwich. That was a messed up situation, but it was, it was funny, but it's messed up because it sucks. And she said, get out of my house. And she said, I ain't leaving. And so that's another reason why we rent from ourselves. Because at the end of the day, in a normal situation, in that case, she probably called the police, right? And said that, man, she booked it on Airbnb. Her stay was over, but she's not leaving. And the police is going to say, okay, let me see the lease agreement. You don't have a lease agreement to show the police. Okay, well, the police is going to tell you, now this is a civil matter. Now you got to go evict them. Wow. They ain't got to pay you nothing while you go through that whole eviction process, which is going to take you at least a month, maybe 2.
And so if there's a lease in place.
Exactly. Now, guess what? Say in a scenario where you are arbitraging from yourself, now, if you call the police is going to say, okay, show me the lease. Now I have a lease that said, here's the entity, the person or entity that's on the lease. They're trespassing at this point. Get them out of here.
Wow.
If you own it, you have to rent it from yourself. That's just a few things. That's not the end of why it's important to arbitrage from yourself. Think about one of the things that I did not do, that most people don't do, getting into the short-term rental business. We don't think about an exit at all. We don't think about an exit, but you can. People actually selling their short-term rental business for and collecting 7 figures, 8 figures.
Yeah, someone tried to buy your. Yeah, a few people probably have tried to buy your business, right?
I turned it down though. Yeah, I turned it down.
And they made some crazy offers though. Look, nice little hip national.
Nice little hip national. It definitely was a nice little hip national, but this is what's happening. And what's crazy is they're selling the business and not the asset. In most cases, they don't even own the asset. They're just selling the cash flow.
Stop it. Hold on.
Selling
so
the business.
Wait. You're telling me people are selling the business,
yeah,
and still keeping
the real estate.
But if you're not structured properly, how can you? Right? If I own a piece of real estate and I have a business and I want to sell the business, sell the cash flow, but I'm structured to where, hey, I can show years of just lease agreements, renewable yearly lease agreements that, hey, this entity has been renting from this entity every year, and this entity is making this much money. So that I can sell this entity and still keep my property. And guess what? The buyers now still have to pay me rent every single month because I'm still the landlord. I still own my own assets. So, but if you're not structured properly, if you're not arbitraging from yourself, you're not putting yourself in a position to even exit. So yeah, it's just another reason. There's more, by the way.
I know. Safety first, y'all. Safety first. So is that what, because I saw on TikTok recently or like some YouTube video, real estate professionals talking about like Grant Cardone and how Grant Cardone always preaches, you should never, live in the house that you purchased and, I rent everything, and they mentioned kind of a similar structure, right? Where in the back end, Grant Cardone actually leases his properties, $5 million, $10 million property he lives in, to himself or to his property management company, and that's how he's doing it. And so he's not necessarily telling everybody that, right? Because most people will be like, oh, I don't understand real estate. Like, Grant Cardone's just renting, you know what I'm saying? In a beastie, but like, nah, he's not leasing it from somebody else. He's probably leasing it from his own company. That's probably what he's doing.
That's probably what he's doing. Yeah, similar principle.
Yeah, because I mean, people always try to hate on Grant Cardone, but I know he's.
Oh yeah, I mean, any person of influence, when you get to a certain level, you're gonna have people that love you, you're gonna have people that hate you, and embrace them all. It's okay.
I'm with all of it, all the smoke. Come on.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, that's dope. All right, so if someone wants to learn from you and get started, like how does that work? I know you have you had a different couple programs and stuff like that. Like what does it look like to work with you and like learn? How do they get started?
Well, for folks who's serious about actually starting and growing a short-term rental business, we have a mastermind that's changing lives. And honestly, it don't matter where you are. You can have 30 doors. You can have 5 doors. You can have no doors. We're going to take you from where you are, and we're gonna get you to where you need to be. But if that's something that's interest to you, I'm not going to just just talk about the full detail, because we could be on here for it's so valuable that we could literally be on here for longer going over the value. So I would say definitely just send me a DM, right? Send me a DM, hustle. We'll go with hustle.
I like that.
Send me a DM, hustle, and I'll send you a link. Somebody on my team or I myself will send you a link, and you can book a call and you will talk to me directly.
Dope. And they can talk through all the details and how.
Go through all the details and tell you.
But that's got to be a game changer, though.
Absolutely.
A mastermind.
Yeah, it's a mastermind.
And they're able to like communicate with you.
Oh, man.
Q&A.
Oh man. We're actually be meeting every single week.
Really?
And yeah, it's the common touch the way it should be, right? It's definitely gonna feel like a one-on-one experience.
Really?
100%, absolutely.
So here's one thing that I'm curious about, because it seems like this year you've blast off. You've gone crazy. I mean, I've seen you connecting with like Max Maxwell, you know what I'm saying, Stephen Trang.
Yeah,
like you've been going crazy with Cody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how does that even manifest, right? Because it seems like it's all just.
Well, sometimes it takes one person to change the trajectory of things for you. And I was pretty known for my skills and my knowledge in my marketplace, right? But when I was on Clubhouse, and which was an interesting time, when the world was shut down and Clubhouse was popping like crazy, spending tons of time there, just adding value, just building a brand on Clubhouse and just adding crazy value. Literally, people were creating businesses from my room, like come into my room weekly just to get knowledge. I would bring in some of my closest friends that were skilled in this business as well, and we would just be adding value on Clubhouse. And then took some amazing people like Cody, heard me speak, and from hearing me speak, he invited me to come speak at his conference, and that was the part of what changed everything.
Wow.
And so, but honestly, what I realized is I let the main thing be the main thing, and I lean into my superpower heavy. And it took me a little bit to realize what that superpower is. And interestingly, my superpower, I tell people, is not really what I know. It's really my energy. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the energy is really where it's at, because when I got on that stage for Cody last year, March, I delivered. And that's what it was. And one thing that allows me to stay in these rooms is the fact that I'm always going to be a student of the game. The fact that I try to make sure that I will always have value to add to anybody in that room. And so that keeps me in the room. Yeah,
and in the interview with Ashley Ann, she was talking about how like a lot of people may have like their guard up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get to a certain level, you don't want to speak to people. You don't want to say hi. You don't want to take pictures with folks who may look up to you. And I'm sure you've experienced that. Like a lot of like subject matter experts, gurus, big time people who've just kind of had weird energy. And so you're saying your superpower is that you have that common touch.
Yes.
Shout out to the bros. But that common touch is important, though.
Very important.
Right. And then on top of that, you've invested in yourself.
Yeah.
Right. In different masterminds of your own, and different experiences.
Yeah.
And different programs.
Yeah.
Networking.
Absolutely.
Right. Networking is a huge thing.
Yeah. I think the relationships is the cheat code. Honestly, it's the relationships, and I've been blessed to build so many amazing, dope connections and relationships with people in this industry, people in real estate in general. And what's amazing is that we all just help each other. We all support each other. We all just add value to each other. I hosted my first conference. We had about 400 people in the building. My first conference this past August here in Houston. And I had 26 speakers at that conference. 26 speakers at that conference. And what's crazy is they were all willing to support me because we all support each other. And I deliver for them on their stages, and we all just help and we support. And it's genuine friendship. It's genuine connection. It's genuine relationships. And that's what it's about. And each one of those speakers know that I got them, you know what I'm saying? And I can call them up too. So when you're making good, powerful, impactful relationships, man, it forces you to level up. It legit forces you, because you know you want to stay, you want to be able to add value. Because the way I saw that's like, man, I want to be able to keep adding value to these people. So I got to stay on top of my game. You know what I'm saying? I have to. And so, and that's when it's genuine, man. It's been a blessing. It's been a heck of a ride.
Content is my thing.
Yes.
So I'm curious, because you've been going stupid with the content lately. How impactful and how instrumental is content to your business, your online business?
Yeah.
Your business is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually been crucial to all aspects of every business.
How though? How does it work?
Because for me, when I'm able to put content and add value to people, and I'm able to add value to the ecosystem, because putting out content and actually making money from my content taught me what the math is. Because the math is not work more hours to make more money, right? It's not work more hours to make money. It's become a more valuable individual and watch the money flow. That's the math. And so I realized that if I can become a person of value and always increase my intellectual acuity in my own space, and continuously add value on all these social platforms, which that's where the reach is. Like, it's crazy where you can reach so many people so instantly, right? So the fact that you can add value to them and bring them into your ecosystem, that way you're able to put your product out there, whatever you're selling, right? And literally make money from it. And even helping other people promote their products, you can make money from that as well. And so it's all kind of ways that content is everything. But you want to be able to put people like good quality content that's valuable. And so and then the next key is the consistency. And that's where everybody struggles with. And it's not easy, right? It's not easy to always try to figure out exactly what you want to talk about and things to add value about. But that consistency piece, even though, and for me, I made the mistake of feeling like everything had to be perfect, right? And I still struggle with that. Let me not say, I just fixed that issue.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be consistent.
Has to be consistent. It has to be valuable.
Absolutely.
What do you think about giving away free game? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people hold back. I feel like,
Yeah.
like I'll even find myself be like, yo, I don't know if I should be, this is a lot of sauce. Like, I don't know if I should, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you think about the level of value that you give? You know what I'm saying?
I think it depends. But one thing I realize is that you don't have too much issue delivering game if you're remaining a student of the game, right? I don't find the issue delivering the sauce if I stay a student of the game. That's why I don't mind giving the sauce away. You know what I'm saying?
Because it's always going to be something.
But guess what? Once you tap in with me, then that's when you really see it. You know what I mean? But you get the sauce. Right. I'm always going to be a student of the game. So I'm always going to have sauce to deliver. Yeah,
I mean, I know a lot of people are probably like, I could learn this stuff on YouTube, you know what I mean? Or, you know, TJ gives all the game on his Instagram. You know what? There's a massive difference, though, to being able to talk to you, to being able to be coached by you.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. It's one thing to know things. It's another thing to have all the additional pieces of the puzzle that it requires to be successful, like proximity, like relationships, like actual coaching, like hand-holding, like things like that.
Because everybody's
like
challenge is different.
Yeah, absolutely. So all that is that's all part of the formula. That's totally, that you have to find on your own.
And so investing in yourself.
Absolutely.
And networking.
100%.
Great energy. Man, so much sauce, y'all. Look, let everybody know how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let them know what your handle is on all platforms, all of that.
Yeah, TJ Tijani, definitely at TJ Tijani. Reach out to me on IG, Mr. TJ Tijani on Twitter, TikTok. Trust the YouTube is coming out, YouTube channel coming out. Be on the lookout for that. Podcast on the way.
Let's go.
Be on the lookout for that. So definitely tap in with your boy.
I like it. Another episode of Hustle to the Top, y'all. Let's get it.